Oh no, it doesn't look as big. I am live. Hello, hello. Come on in, everybody. Oops. Didn't want that to go in there. Hi, Patty. My picture looks funny again. I hope it's okay. I dropped a piece of something in there. See if we can get it out. Oops. Do that again. How's everybody doing? Come on in. I'm Jeanette with Backroom Creations. Come on in and let me know your temperature, because it's like almost 80 here. Last week we're freezing, and this week we're sweating. Oh, thanks. I didn't want to do it this morning, so I threw it up. Nobody hardly sees me at work anyway. A few patients here and there. Not too many. I'm going to start on this. So let me know where you're watching from. We're going to... Ooh, I got some glitter on there. What else doesn't my house have glitter on in here? There we go. Normally I take 90. Ooh! I know. It was like 34 here one night last week. Nuts. So normally I take the beads off of my little hangers. I think I bought this one at Walmart or Hobby Lobby. Now this one has holes through the top instead of just stapled on the back. So I'm just going to leave it on there. Hi, Anita from Alabama. Welcome. So the strings went through it. I don't want to have to put the strings back through that, so we're just going to leave it on this time. I thought about changing the beads out to ones behind me. We'll see how much time I have left. Okay? So I had ordered some dried flowers, baby's breath actually, for some crafts. And this is what it came in. So you can buy vintage newsprint tissue paper. You can buy, this is actually a paper. So I saved it, of course, because you know, us crafters are hoarders. And so I thought I could do something with that sometime. So I'm going to, and it's just a tad bit too big. So we're gonna grab an X-Acto knife. I left my new one downstairs, I think. Who knows where it's at. So I'm just gonna go around the edge and kind of get it straight where I want it, hopefully. And not have, hi Diane, how you doing? That one might be trimmed again. Hi, Miss Tracy. So we're going to cut this around so it fits in the bottom. I have a little bitty piece left. This isn't tissue paper. It's more like paper. It's even thicker than newsprint. I found on one site, good at work. I'm not at work. I didn't work over tonight. I'm like, no, peace out. I'm going home. My supervisor tried to play a trick on me and say, Jeanette, at 4:50, I get off at 5, tells me I have an O2, which is oxygen, discharge from the hospital. I just gave him the nastiest look, and he goes, it's not till Wednesday. Get that under. I don't know why I'm. I want it to fit, but I gotta take it back out and put the Mod Podge in there. I think that will be okay. So we're gonna cut that. Lay that off to the side. Now I got enough for a little bit more. So now we're gonna see, do I want to paint this first? Yeah, let's paint this first so I don't get paint on my newsprint. Okay, so I think, do we want a brown wash or white wash? Now, before you answer that, hi Michelle. This is the little piggy of Where's My Bacon? So he's kind of whitewashed. So if I want to put him in there, think we ought to keep it the same or should we go brown? I don't want it to be all the same color though. How about black? We can do black. See if I have any gloves left. I gotta buy some more gloves. I got one. Michelle says brown. Connie says brown. I have a pop-up. Oh yeah, black. I think black. Only because I'm going to make a little itty-bitty bow. And these are my two ribbons. So I have a black and cream and then a red and white. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with black. Sorry I asked about brown. I forgot I was putting a little bitty bow on it. So we're not going to do nothing to him. This is the way I bought him. I think he might have had a hanger on the back, but I took it off. So we'll go with black. I'm probably going to water it down just a tad. Thanksgiving plates. Just because I don't want it to be, because this is chalk paint. Of course, I could get some acrylic paint out. I don't want it to be really, really, opaque. I want it to have a little bit of transparency. My water's, I got clean water, but it's still dirty. Probably because I had black in the bottom of it. All right, so we're just gonna like messy paint these and kind of just rub them. They don't have to be like, well, I guess we're gonna do the string too. So I'm not worried about them being solid because I'll probably wipe the excess paint off. If you guys wouldn't mind sprinkling me out, I'd appreciate it. I've seen your wreath that you posted, Michelle. That's really pretty. The one most recently, I should say. I suppose I could have got a baby wipe too and just kind of wiped them. Probably would have worked too. It'd be okay. You're welcome. So I'm just kind of like touching on each bead, making sure it's getting all coated with some sort. Doesn't have to be a solid because, like I said, I'm just going to take a paper towel or rag and wipe the excess off. Is it going to do what it did last year and kind of skip over spring and go straight to summer? I think it did that last year. I'm like, where's spring? I already had friends that got the boat out. Of course, they'll have that boat out still in October if it's even slightly warm enough to do it. Might have to bundle up for it. don't care about the sides because we're going to paint that black too. But then I think what I'll do is I'll dry brush a little white on it. Heck, they're already drying. I've got a fan going over here. I come upstairs and turn my air conditioner on because it's a little warm down there. We don't have central air. We just have window air conditioners. But we have seven air conditioners. We don't run them all the time, though. The two big ones come out every year, so they're over at storage. So we got to get them back out. Okay, I think those are all painted. You like your paint to dry fast, but not as fast as you stick it on there. So I think what we'll do is we'll white distress it. I'll use a cream to kind of match the pig. So Saturday I'm in an event, Pixie and Prince, with Pixie Paint and Triple D Digital Deco Designs. I picked out a pretty print. So that's Saturday. If you're not busy or you're just chilling, stick us on the side there. Floyd used to laugh at me because sometimes I'll have one live on my computer screen. I'll put another live on the other screen. I'll have one on my phone. I'll have one on my tablet. I haven't done that for a while, but I want to spread the love. Well, it's a good thing I didn't do the paper because we'll have to do the sides in here. I'd have been upset. And I think with the warming weather, came out the crazy drivers. There's always one exit in the bigger town north of me that people just, it's just so condensed that you basically have to slow down traffic just to get everything moving again. The good thing about black is I got a black shirt on. So I don't have to paint all that because that will be hid. So who's planning a vacation? I know Michelle's already gone to Disney World this year. It's taking a lot more paint than I thought. I think my paint once it gets down so far, it wants to get thick on you. I always keep a bottle of water underneath my counter here so I can thin out my paint. Because you don't want to put just tap water or paint water in your bottles of paint. You'll make it mildew. That's why I never let the kids paint from the jars or anything. I always squirt it out on a plate. Patty's got a new granddaughter coming in July. Oh, yay! You're headed to Alaska? Are you going on an Alaskan cruise? I've heard those are fun. I've never been on a cruise. I don't know if I want to go on one, though. Yeah. I used to have an aunt and uncle. I think I still got cousins up in Alaska. unless they moved away. I had a great aunt and uncle that was stationed up at the Air Force Base up there around Anchorage, where they lived. Of course, I used to never say that I would fly. And I've flown 3 times now in the last 3 years. It's all Angela's fault. Not sure yet. I know I'm going back home at some point to see my mom here probably in the next month or so. I got to go back through the antiques before she gets rid of them all. I know she's got 2 scales for me, and she's got old books. I mean, we're talking 1800s books. And she's got 1 or 2 creamers to make the dairy creamer. And some bottles, milk bottles, stuff like that. So I'm excited to go back to see my mom too, but she's got goodies. So we're just going to go ahead and paint the back while we're at it. I used to not like the, see the mama and get some goodies. It's a small town where I'm from. I think it started out like 2,800 people, and I think now it's like up to 45, which is still big and too big for my mom. She lives out of town. On a busy road, though. Right next to a cemetery. Because the house they bought used to be, hi, Miss Mary from Ocean Breeze and Me. Their house used to be the church that went with the cemetery. And there was a huge mausoleum that was built and paid for by somebody. And it had a caretaker. My dad lived in the apartment in the mausoleum before they even bought the house or church. And that's how he paid for my sister to go to college. Then they bought the church that has a 3-bedroom apartment attached to the back. And that's how my mom did her antique store. She had bought a building in town. Where she rented? I'm not sure if she rented that one. No, I think she bought it. And then she sold that one and moved out to where they're at because then they could live and have the business all in one swoop. The only drawback is it's in the cemetery. Now they've since tore down the mausoleum. So, but the land's not allowed to be sold. It was, what do you say? It was in the will that you can never ever sell the land. So the mausoleum got so old that they finally had to tear it down. I went up in a steeple one time. I scared to death. But my mom does have her garden over on that side. And my dad was a cemetery sexton and took care of it. That and 6 other cemeteries. I know some of you have heard this story. But my dad's since gone. And my brother worked with my dad, and he lost the contract because they wanted to put somebody else's family member taking care of it. So that's how it goes. Hope this don't dry too much. I should turn my fan off. I know it's got a little bit of paint in there, but that'll be alright. Because here in a second, you're not going to see it. Okay. So now, if you weren't here in the beginning, this is just a piece of paper. It was bigger, and it was wrapped around my dried flowers I bought. And I'm like, oh, I'm keeping that. Put this down in here. With my little wedgie. So my little Mod Podge wedge. I got it with, actually my husband bought it with the brayer. And then he gave me the brayer. And then he's like, here, you might as well take this because you got the other thing. I snatched his heat tool. I had to go buy another one because I wore it out. Well, first I dropped it. And I cracked something inside. And then it wouldn't go on high. So I always used it on low. Well, I finally gave out. Thank you, Miss Mary. Pull the rope up so that rope's gone through the wood. So I'm just squeezing out any extra glue, because if you don't squeeze out all the air, it'll bubble. And if you leave too much glue behind the paper, it will bubble. So the goal is not to put too much glue. Oh, shiesty. I got paint on it. It is paper. We have to do some grunging, we will. Because our pig's going to go in there, so we'll see where the pig's going to sit. Alright, so we need to squish and wipe. I should have known that. There we go. Okay. There's what we got so far with a swoosh. With a little swoosh. That'll be okay. Still going hot. Oh, yep, it's hot. So, hey Cheryl. We're going to get a couple, just little, I think these are from Dollar Tree. But we'll see where our pig's going to be, and then we'll see if we got to do anything with our mistake. Oh, it might just a little tiny bit. So here's my idea, because my pig doesn't fit just down in there. So I thought, oh, I'll just suspend him in air. Okay. So we'll glue those down. And you could use anything. You could use layers of cardboard, little pieces of a paint stick. I just happen to have some little square pieces of wood. I got all kinds of wood. Okay, so all we did was put the little 4 blocks on there. And then I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Yep, it's clear. I don't want I have some, have you ever seen the black E6000? Ooh, that's a lot. They have black. I think one of us bought it by accident. So I'll put E6000 on 2 of them. 2 of them I'll do glue. Not yet, Michelle. I got all kinds of ideas, but I just run out of time. I've been working like 50 hours a week and then driving another 5, 6, 7, 7.5, 8 hours a week. It's been a long week. Couple weeks. I came home on time today. Because normally, if I work over, I work a half an hour before, I don't take a lunch, and then I stay an hour after. So, yeah. Yeah, it makes for a long day, but we have so much work. So there's the little piggy. Oink, oink. Okay, we can probably get rid of this now. We'll see. Right back there. No. That's not a work from home job. I wish. I wish I could work from home. Thank you. So I think what we'll do to kind of give a little bit of dimension to the black part, we will do some like little highlights with the plaster color. So Waverly plaster. Put that in there. Put that in there. Remember last week I had all kinds of. I think, was it Michelle? Did you catch me? Or no, Lori caught me sticking my grungy brush down into my big bottle of Mod Podge, and I really didn't mean to do that. But it turned out okay. All right. So this is when we're going to wax on, wax off. I kind of like the fan brushes. I don't know how that'll work. Let's try it. I got a new fan brush. Now, normally you do the thing, you go doink, doink, doink. But we're just going to kind of, I don't want very much of it on there. Just barely touch it. Probably could have done this before I put the pig on, but oh well. And then we'll do the beads. Just put a little bit. There's barely any paint on the brush. I just want a little bit to give it some little texture and dimension. Of course, we'll do the outsides too. Not sure who's up after me. I didn't have time to look. I was trying to down a sandwich and get up here and turn my air conditioner on. My son's been over helping us clean up the yard. We had all kinds of sticks and branches and little pieces of wood I threw out on the ground on outside the shed. So see, it just gives it ever so lightly. Because sometimes when I use, you have patriotic napkins, you want to Mod Podge, just need to find time. Oh, I know, Michelle. I'm gonna do the inside frame too, just a little bit. You don't want it to be all kinds of solid. Yeah, should have done this for a piggy on, but that's all right. I have some patriotic napkins somewhere too. Angela and I were buying napkins, and then when we see each other, we would bring some for each other. So I forget. She brought me some last October. I gotta go through those. I put them in the drawer with the rest of them. If you even wanted to get really wild, you could put little lights behind there. Not for this though. Okay. So here's what we got so far. You can just leave it like this if you wanted. I don't need any, but thanks, Michelle. But we're going to do like a little itty bitty bow. Where's Deanne? She always says, you can't make little bows. I'm going to show you I can. Okay. Where's Mommy? Okay. Here's my Bodabra. So instead of my Bodabra wire, thank you, we'll use some really thin 1/8" black satin ribbon. I got this at Walmart, not Walmart, Hobby Lobby. It's 225 feet, and I know I didn't pay $5 for it. I always bought it half off, so I probably got it 40% off. So we'll put that down there, like, you know, when you use a Bodabra, if you never have, you always have a Bodabra wire down there. Well, we're going to have a Bodabra ribbon. Dovetail. So dovetail means just to put the little V's in the end, and then I'm going to scrunch it up the middle, just like that, and then we're going to stick it down in there, and then I'll do the other one. So if you don't know how to dovetail, you just fold it in half, and I take the folded side and I cut it up to 45 degrees. Or you can cut it on the open side and cut it down 45 degrees. Either way. Okay? And then we're going to do the same to our little red and white check. We'll put both of those together. Not going to scrunch them together though, because then they'll look like one. So these are 1.5 inch, and the black and cream is 2.5 inch. If you don't know where your metal is, you can just fold it in half, put your little crease on there, and then you can scrunch it up right there on that crease. Okay? We're going to take one piece of raffia. This is how I made this little bow. Exactly how I'm doing it now. I just didn't think that one would go very well with the pigs. I just use, I buy that big bag of raffia from Walmart. So I'm not cutting these. You can cut them if you want, but I suggest you cut them after you're done pulling your bow together. Stop it. So then tie it. I tied it in the front, then I just slipped it to the back, and we're going to tie it. Okay. Then one of my little strands snuck out on me. And then on this one, I am going to cut the ends, just because I like how that looks for Mr. Piggy. And then you can pull these apart a little bit. Yep, you can do that too. So here's a little bow. I left that string on there because I want to be able to tie it. Either I want to tie it or I'll glue it. I'll probably glue it. We could even do an itty bitty bow on the front. Maybe. My fingers will work. Hello. My fingers do not like to tie little bows. You can put a little bow on there. Thank you, Patty. Put a big old blob of glue on there. I'm just gonna hold it for a minute. Hey, Heather, how are you? Holding. Thank you, girl. Okay, I think it's on there. If you wanted to, you could tie it to where the end of the beads are. There's another project. Oh, it's hot, Heather. It's hot. Not extremely hot, but you know, after being 34 last week, it's a little hot. It's almost, I think it's like 78, something like that. 82, I don't know. It's a little warm, but I got air conditioner in my craft room. So see, we if you put the now see, my pig wouldn't set flat on here because it was just like 1/8 of an inch too big. So instead of just saying, oh well, what am I going to use now? I just put those little blocks behind there, and that raises him up to where we can use him now. You're ready for it? Yeah, I'm ready for it not to be 34. That's for sure. And I like these little bows that I've been making because it just adds like, you know, because if you know me, you know me. I like to make big bows. Thank you, Heather. Because just like this one, I made 2 of those. It's almost 90 in Texas. Yeah, I made another one. So now see, this one I put a little bit more raffia on it, and I left the loops on it. So it kind of changes the look of it. I finished too soon. What else do you want me to do? Here's how from last week. Hi, Mary Claire. Here's how our little bottles turned out. This one was the cyanide. Thank you, Elizabeth. I was going to change my beads out, but then after I found out, a lot of times they're just nailed to the back or glued or stapled. This one was through a hole. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave it on there. A lot of times I take my beads off and change them out. But we just left that on there. You love bottle crafts, so do I. I've been making my husband drink that Starbucks Frappuccino to get the bottles. That's all I want is the bottles. I see somebody with it at work. I'm like, I want that bottle. They're like, you're weird. I'm like, no. You have no idea how valuable those bottles are. But I love them. I like all kinds of bottles, actually. Okay. So, not sure what I'm going to make next week. Don't forget that Saturday, I'm in the Pixie and Prince event with JoJo from Pixie Paints and Catherine from Digital Deco Designs. They sent me a print, and I got to pick out a color of paint, And we're going to make something fun with it. It's a pretty print too. I didn't go with summer either. It's like every day. So, but it's really, really pretty. So if you don't have anything to do this weekend on Saturday, you can come see us. Don't forget, if you're not part of Craft Around the Clock, make sure you go join, because there's 24/7 crafting Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends when we have events. All right? All right, who's up next, Heather? Do you know? And if you like to make the bottles, I saved my salt containers. I gotta paint it yet. But I got a salt label because I use a bunch of salt to make the salt dough ornaments that harden up like a rock. Do I have any up here? I thought I had some up here. Maybe not. Yep, I do. So you remember in vocational Bible school or in preschool, you made the salt dough? They're hard. And then I'm going to paint them and make them as bowl fillers. But I use a lot of salt. I use a lot of salt, a lot of foil or flour. So then I get my containers. There's a method to my madness. All right, guys, I'm going to give you back a couple minutes. Go make sure that you're following me, that you're joining Craft Around the Clock. Go to the restroom, grab a drink, grab some coffee, and make sure that you watch the next creator on Craft Around the Clock, and I will see you later. Night, guys.